Hey guys, what's going on? In this quick podcast, we're going to debunk the myth of something that everybody seems to be delusional about right now, and that is the fact that the price of Bitcoin is supposed to be moving higher. Now, there's probably thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, YouTube posts, basically a ton of videos that are being posted almost every hour with titles similar to like, hey, watch this in 4 hours, Bitcoin's going to break the fuck out high. Hey, in 6 hours, don't miss, this is your last 48 hours before Bitcoin price is going to move fucking high. So there's like hundreds of thousands of these. And I'm going to break down right now in simple economic terms why exactly the opposite is going to take place. So the whole world understands that quantitative easing is good for Bitcoin, right? QE is good for Bitcoin, or known as cheap money or printing money, right? QE is good for Bitcoin. If we study any historic time frame, when Federal Reserve is cutting interest rates, when Federal Reserve is increasing money supply, which is literally the definition of quantitative easing, QE is increasing money supply. So everybody that's in the market for at least a few days should understand that, right? But the shocking aspect of what's taking place is the opposite of QE would be QT, which is quantitative tightening or decreasing the money supply. And my argument is quite simple. Well, what are tariffs? Well, tariffs would be the equivalent of QT because they literally take out money from the system that people would be using for something like buying crypto. And now that's going to be used to pay higher bills for everything else in daily life. So basically, tariffs is the biggest form of quantitative tightening because it actually, what tariffs do is they decrease the money supply. And if you study the history of Bitcoin price and crypto prices over the time frame that is available to us, then quantitative tightening is associated with some of the biggest drops in Bitcoin and crypto history. So why does hundreds of thousands of YouTubers think that Bitcoin price is going to go higher? Well, because they have not caught on to this very fact, okay? They're blinded by God. There is a gazillion fucking bullish catalysts for Bitcoin to go higher, and yet it does not go higher. It's stalled. It's between 100 and 105, 106K, and people are about to dump it. And what I'm explaining to you is something that nobody's talking about yet, but it is quite self-evident that if we are officially in a period of quantitative tightening, then there's not one fucking instance in history where Bitcoin goes higher. There's no one instance when other crypto coins go higher. And everyone is expecting the greatest bull run because there is a gazillion of bullish catalysts. Well, for some reason, the entire world is miscalculating the biggest catalyst or something that has the biggest correlation. And it's quantitative tightening that is hitting the crypto market, but it has not realized it yet. So, guys, it's quite simple. Study the history, quantitative easing, quantitative tightening. I mean, it is absolutely amazing that 2 days ago, Federal Reserve basically says, hey, we're not cutting rates. We're going to hold off. And they're taking out the verbiage that they got inflation under control, like inflation is close to hitting their target. They completely take that out. They don't take that out for no reason. Okay, it's basically their recognition that they did not win the fight with the inflation, that inflation could take off at any given moment. Okay, and tariffs is one of the primary reasons why that's going to be taking place. So not talking about the other component of the tariff, which is the great retaliation 2025 theme that's going to be hitting the markets. And that is the other side of tariffs, how other countries are going to tariff the fuck out of the United States. So when that takes place, that's also going to have a quantitative tightening because now there's going to be less demand for whatever goods normally would be exported from the United States abroad because the cost of these type of transactions is going to go up. The world is going to turn to other places to consume that. So, guys, a big storm is coming. Bitcoin will drop. Crypto will drop. Do you know how to buy put options on that stuff? Because that's a pretty simple trade. Now, I'm not saying, okay, Bitcoin's going to drop today, tomorrow. What I'm saying is over the course of next 6 months, Bitcoin price will be lower while the rest of the world believes that it's going to be at 200, 250,000. I would say the exact opposite is going to take place because of the simple correlation that I have just explained to you. The world has not realized that the tariff policies that are being implemented now is the biggest quantitative tightening the world has ever seen. And that cannot be a bullish catalyst for crypto to go higher. Now, someone may argue, well, hold on, Leo, but what you're describing, and I heard you last podcast where you even mentioned the H word. Damn, the H, the hyperinflation. You said United States could go into hyperinflation. Yes, and if you study any history of any country in the world, what happens during hyperinflation, okay, is interest rates of the country that is going through hyperinflation. And, hyperinflation technically is a term described for inflation 50% or higher. And what I'm referring to hyperinflation is double-digit inflation. Inflation above 10%, 20% is possible, which for a country like United States, that almost would be like hyper-fucking-inflation. Okay, inflation going from 3% to 23% would be a hyper type of inflation change within a very short amount of time. So why would that happen? Well, I'll break it down a little bit more in the further podcast about oil prices and other things. But basically, think of it in terms that in the first term, Trump placed tariffs on China to the magnitude of 60%. Now, those tariffs never went away, and now he's about to increase the Chinese tariff by another 10%. Now, what has transpired in the midst of it is China started rerouting most of the goods they would send directly to the United States through Mexico and repackaging them in a way where they would not get tariff. Well, that is going to get tariff now 25%. So basically what you really have done over the course of just a few years, you have increased the tariffs on China from 0 to 60, another 10, another 25. That is almost 100% tariffs we're talking about. And you think, well, how can prices, what kind of, are you nuts, Leo? The hyperinflation, what are you doing, 23% inflation? Like, why is this even hard to believe for anybody that lives in California? Fucking rents just went up, 300%. And people are having a hard time getting a hold of the idea that the United States can go into a period of hyperinflation. Well, what happens in hyperinflation? There's no discussion by Federal Reserve whether they should be cutting rates, okay? The only way the discussion goes from there of any sign that the inflation is going to break the fuck out, which it will, is Federal Reserve talking about increasing rates. And before the end of 2025, I would say my easy prediction would be that Federal Reserve will be raising rates, not cutting them. And if that is the case, then when we go in that cycle of rate hikes, Bitcoin price drops. So there it is, guys. Don't let the impact of tariffs be a surprise to you when it comes to price of Bitcoin and crypto. Be ready for it. Position yourself on the right side of the equation. If you're not trading options on crypto futures, you're missing out. Seriously, 30x trades, 50x trades, 100x trades. recently we had some big trades on Bitcoin to the magnitude of, 300+% on the downside, not on the call side, on the put side. So if you guys are missing that, you probably, number one, you don't have your account set up correctly. Number two, you're probably missing some colossal entries and exits. And number three, the perfect solution for that is to go to 13mmtv.com and sign up to trade with a coach. If you got any questions relating to this, you can go to 13marketmoves.com, put in your information, get in touch with someone here at 13 Market Moves. But don't be missing this trade, guys. It is so mispriced at the current moment, which is critical when you're trading options. When your options need to be absolutely mispriced in order for you to go 300x on a trade. And this is the moment where nobody can see the shit drop, yet it is apparent. Federal Reserve have voiced that we are done with quantitative easing. We're transitioning to quantitative tightening, and that's going to become more self-evident as the prices on everything as a result of tariffs are going to go to the moon, not even calculating the damage that's going to be done through retaliatory part of the tariff. So with that said, it's not quantitative easing, damn it. It is quantitative tightening. Be on the right side of the market. Let's roll. Dare to take your account fucking 1000x in 2025, utilizing simple information and simple strategies from 13 Market Moves. Let's roll.